This is Kyle McCord, and you're listening to Austin, Felix, and Matt on the Devy Debate.
Welcome to the Devy Debate. All right, boys. Are we ready to debate? Austin, you tweeted something, girl. You tweeted your running back tonight. Explain yourself.
Boy, that escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast. Who jumped up and
That's Austin Nace.
Who is going to be that guy? And for me, Bijan Robinson is still going to be that guy.
Back to the ground with Robinson, who spins and then tries to bounce it. A stiff arm, another one as he rides it, keeps his balance. They're going to say he stepped out, but
I'm Felix Sharp. I know you didn't think that we would get through this episode without mentioning the name one Zach F. Wilson.
Screener draw. Oh, Wilson is going to uncork for the end zone, and he drops it in beautifully. And it is his roommate, Dax Milne, on the touchdown.
That's Matt Bruni.
G. Scott Jr. Obviously, I waxed poetic about him on the last episode, so I won't do that again here.
And this time it's Fields on the carry. Watch out! Justin Fields hails Columbus 51 yards.
Bruni, are you ready to go head-to-head with me?
I am.
Got to get my popcorn out here. Hold on.
Got to continue. I got. Kyle McCord is going to end up winning the job. He's going to be rated higher.
Well, I'm not nearly as passionate about what I'm about to talk about.
Our apologies because Herb Street ran out of time. We'll get him rescheduled soon. And for Matt Bruni and Austin Nace, I'm Felix Sharp. Good night and good luck.
You know, this marriage has been around since November 2020, and so sometimes it can be a little struggle to keep things fresh, to spice it up a little bit. But we're going to do that tonight. I've got, if you're watching on YouTube, Campus to Canton on YouTube, a bowl of questions that only I know. Only I have know what the questions are going to be. These three are going to help address them. They have no idea what these questions are. That and never let the truth get in the way of a good story. So, gentlemen, are we ready? Are we ready to? Are we ready to jump in here with the questions? Austin, you ready?
This is going to be more even off the cuff than usual. I can't wait because I haven't prepped for this show in like at least a year, in case anybody couldn't tell.
We like to play dangerously. We like to play, go right up close to the line. Chris Moxley, love the T-shirt. Are you ready for the game tonight?
Yeah, I felt we've needed spice for a while, so I'm glad we talked to somebody and fixed that.
Noah's in the comments helping us out here. Thank you, Noah.
Yeah, thanks for the advice, man. We're looking for one more, but I understand the sentiment.
Matthew, well, this goes on at Texas A&M. What Noah's talking about, I've heard. Matthew, are you ready to go?
I imagine that goes on everywhere, not just at Texas A&M. But yeah.
Well,
yeah, I'm as ready as ever.
All right, let's stop with the shenanigans. The first question: who is a freshman outperforming expectations?
Oh,
that's a good question.
There's so many to choose from. Where do I begin? Did I stall long enough for anybody? Jaden Ott is a really big one.
That is a good one, actually.
I just got done recording this week's Back to Devy with Mike, and we talked a little bit about Jaden Ott from a Devy perspective, and Jaden Ott feels like the kind of guy that maybe I sell after this year. But he's definitely outperformed. I mean, he's splitting those carries at Cal quicker than we thought he would. He's been breaking tackles at a high rate. He's been catching the ball at a pretty decent clip. So I think he's the big name that I would point to in the freshman class that has just like totally outperformed any expectations I had for him, like when this class shaped up a couple months ago.
I mean,
I'm gonna violate Mike's rule, and I'm gonna talk about a player who's probably not a Devy asset, but and I'm gonna cheat. So I'm almost like not answering the question. But the redshirt freshman at Idaho, Giovanni McCoy.
Oh my gosh.
What? What? Listen, you guys had your opportunity to talk here. I think he's thrown
probably not a Devy asset.
Probably,
we have to qualify with that probably because people just want to know.
He's going to transfer. We're losing listeners left and right here. I mean, let's just be honest. He's redshirt freshman from California at Idaho, a 0-star prospect who's starting as a redshirt freshman, plays Indiana in week 2, plays Washington State in week 1, and performs admirably because their colors are like Kent State. I actually thought that I was watching Colin Schlee, who we've heard people talk about before on this show and on some of our CFF shows, and I thought that's who I was watching because he has some ability, he has some aggressiveness throwing downfield, and at times in the game against Washington State, he looked better than Cameron Ward, and we have Cameron Ward as being a potential NFL first-round draft pick, or at least we did at the beginning of the season. He looked good throwing the ball with touch deep, better than Cameron Ward, Chris Moxley, who you noted is not great deep. And so he is a player that I'm like, I'm going to keep tabs on at the FCS level, excuse me. So maybe, he's a transfer candidate after this year. I mean, I tell you what, if he was starting for Texas A&M, I think that they would be in better shape than they are now. So this is one of those shooting from really, really deep FCS quarterback who doesn't have all the physical tools. He's not a Trey Lance type player, but I do like. I mean, he's had 2 gutsy performances. So much respect to Giovanni McCoy, Idaho.
I understand why you put the probably not qualifier in there because he basically did the same exact level of play against Washington State as Graham Mertz did the week after. So noted Felix favorite Graham Mertz. So just wanted to throw that out there. Okay.
I thought he made a couple nice throws against Indiana for what it's worth. I don't want to talk about this Idaho quarterback on Devy debate, but I kind of understand where you're coming from. Giovanni McCoy, just maybe he transfers up. I have one I got one that I was wrong on, straight up. I didn't think Amarian Hampton was going to be that good, and especially this early. I thought he was the second best back they brought in this class. I like George Pettaway better. I thought he was a better receiver. I thought he was a more dynamic back, and I am eating crow on Amarian Hampton, who has been excellent through 3 weeks. They're off this week, but it's been a committee, but he's been the best back there. It is what it is. I was wrong on the fact that I didn't think he would be productive at the collegiate level. I just didn't think he had the skills that we were looking for.
You thought he wouldn't be productive at all at the college level? Like, I didn't love the guy, but I thought he would be fine in college.
I didn't think that he was going to be like a CFF starter. I never thought that he would be a guy who you could start week in, week out, especially if George Pettaway was going to be the one.
200-yard game so far already. 200-yard games 3 weeks into his freshman career.
I mean, context matters. The starter was injured.
And the backup.
And the backup.
Whatever. You guys are something else. Listen, I was mocked and ridiculed literally on the show.
Look, it's a win for you. It's a win. We're not taking the win from you. It's just there's context in that. Like, I don't think Mox's thoughts are too far off on what we thought at the beginning of the season. That is not an unfair thought that he wouldn't be a starter this year. I didn't know the backup got injured too. The starter and the backup got injured. If he can't go out there and produce, there's something wrong with him. He lived up to what you said he was going to be. Like, it is a win for you. I won't take that away from you. It's fair to put a little context on that.
I should not have given it all to Felix. Can I choose a redshirt freshman as well, actually, if we're just playing that game? I thought Quinn Ewers looked really good when he played against Alabama.
Oh, my God.
14 greatest plays in college football history.
No, we should throw out Kobe Prentice here, who is performing. He's not playing great, but he's outperforming expectations in the fact that nobody had him starting the season out of all of those freshmen and all the guys that they had in the 2021 class with Brooks, Guy Hall, and JoJo Earl. Oh, but maybe we shouldn't give him credit since JoJo Earl was injured, blah, 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 all this stuff.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the next.
That's a good assessment. Brett, no. Well, I guess it depends on who you. I expected Quinshon Judkins to be good. So,
people are going to listen to this later on, so you should probably read the question.
My bad. Brett said, "Don't we have to talk about Quinshon Judkins too?" And I said no because I expected him to be good.
Is this a time where we toss in that, like, for a lot of these guys, like, it wasn't necessarily that we didn't think they would do anything in college. It's just like I'm still very skeptical on Amarian Hampton as a legitimate NFL prospect. I think he's way more Raheem Boyd than he is Javonte Williams, which is the natural comp because they both played for North Carolina. I just don't think he's an NFL level athlete. Like I just really, really don't. I think
Austin, have you learned
very borderline?
We can't say that after 1 week or two. It's definitive statements after every week. So no. Make your decision. Is he or not?
Moving on. Listen, whose question was this? Are there too many wide receivers?
It was my question, and I'll add some context to it because it was my question. We're becoming
this question that you didn't know was coming because I'm the one that drafted all the questions.
No, it was my question. As in, I'm going to answer it first. I think the asker of this question was trying to imply was that we are seeing 5 receivers drafted in the first round almost every season. At what point is there like an oversaturation of high-end receiver talent in the NFL where there's less distinction between wide receiver 1s and 2s and 3s than we saw maybe 10 years ago? Like we live in a golden age of wide receivers, in my opinion. So the asker of the question might have been trying to infer that.
Well, so what's the answer to the question? Are there too many wide receivers? Let me give you my take on the question. So I was thinking about this. Who are the guys that we actually have faith in once I go down this list and you tell me where we cut off, where we're like, that guy's going to be a productive NFL player? Kayshon Boutte.
With the
I don't even know if
like fantasy relevant, like
fantasy relevant, wide receiver 1 or wide receiver 2?
2. Okay.
Ooh, 1 or 2.
Which of these guys are wide receiver 2s? Kayshon Boutte?
Yes.
Sure.
Jackson Smith and Jigba?
Yes.
I think so.
Marvin Harrison Jr.?
Yes.
Probably.
Xavier Worthy.
Probably.
That's a tough one because of his. It's a tough one though because of his play style and size. He's very much Marquise Brownish, and Marquise Brown been a wide receiver 2?
Yes.
I think he had a wide receiver 1 season last year.
Yeah,
it was borderline.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Jordan Addison.
Yeah.
I think
Josh
so.
Downs.
I think so as well, but.
I think Josh Downs is a potential first-round draft pick. And I think this is the cutoff. Quentin Johnston.
Yes.
Has a chance.
Quentin, yeah. Absolutely has a chance.
Okay. You have faith.
Really good.
It's not a does he have a chance. Is if you had to bet today, would you hold your money or say he's going to be a wide receiver 2 at the NFL level?
One time?
He has a wide receiver 2 finish in his profile.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's not what I'm asking. If this bet was out there on the book and you had to choose this as a bet, would you choose it?
So you're saying one time, like all he's gonna do is finish as a wide receiver 1 or 2 one time. I'd take the bet. Yes,
absolutely.
I think he can do that once.
If that's
one
the
time,
bet, then I would go like 20 more deep on this list. If that's
really?
the only.
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
Yeah,
okay.
keep going.
I mean, look, not that Darnell Mooney's not a bad wide receiver. Darnell Mooney finishes top 24 wide receiver last year. You're telling me Quinton
did?
Yeah. You can't tell me Quinton Judkins. I'm thinking of the wrong person. Quentin Johnston can't do that in it.
I was going to say, shit,
Quinton
I would be
Judkins
very
will not do that as a wide receiver.
I didn't realize that. All right. So wait, let me go through these numbers. I'm going through my rankings here. Let's go through them really fast. Okay. I'm going to keep going fast because I'm assuming you guys think that all of these guys have that ceiling. There. Evan Stewart, Marvin Mims, Luther Burden, Emeka Ibuka, Parker Washington, Jacob Cowan.
No, on Washington. And possibly
Cowan. I mean, he's not worse than Darnell Mooney, though, if that's the bet you want to make. True. But, no, I would not put it as more than a 30% chance.
Okay, Ja'Cory Brooks.
No. I'm just not there with Brooks currently.
Jermain Burton.
No.
I think
Lorenzo Styles.
I think
not right now.
Yeah.
No. Okay, let me go here deeper. Nathaniel Dell.
Yes.
No, he's too small. He's 155. It's not going to happen for him at the NFL level.
Bo Collins. Do we know enough yet?
He could.
No.
See, it's like, are there too many wide receivers? There's like 13 or 14 guys.
I think you're leaving out a bunch of names that should have been higher, though, like Cedric Tillman. Several of the freshmen I think should go in. I would bet on Adam Randall doing it. I would bet Antonio Williams.
I had Adam Randall was in there too, but I didn't. Okay.
Like both of the Adonai Mitchell, I would probably put some money down on him doing it one time. Yeah, I think he has the skill set. The NFL is going to love him. I could see him doing it over. I could see him being more likely to do it than Nathaniel Dell, if that's the question.
You want to hear a hot one? Sure. I think Ladd McConkey could do it. I think Ladd McConkey is actually an underrated player. Like I think he could be a productive asset in an offense.
I'm done writing him off. So
yeah, I think McConkey could have a wide receiver 2 season. Georgia wide receiver who was a three-star player.
Yep. Subscribe to the YouTube page. React to this statement. Jermain Burton is not a top 15 wide receiver overall.
Correct. Matthew. He's my wide receiver 17. I've been the lowest on him for like the past 2 months. We had our wide receiver summit. Colin, I think, had him as like a top 5 wide receiver. I think I had him at 12. He dropped recently for me. I get we haven't seen Bama's probably – they have not put their best product on the field yet. Utah State, he didn't really do much against them. Didn't do much against Texas. This is not necessarily the kind of talent they usually play. Usually they play lower end like FCS schools. So I will give him some slack right now. But if you were asking me right now looking forward, no, I don't see it. I don't think he's that special. I think we just projected him forward into that Alabama offense that he's going to do it because he's the best wide receiver in that room. And we've seen flashes at Georgia. We've seen flashes from a lot of wide receivers that it doesn't end up panning out for. I just don't think he's got it.
Do you think that was a bad bet at the time, though? Because I don't think it was.
No, I don't. But I like my biggest disagreement with Colin was he put him up at wide receiver 5, and I was like, that's too high.
It was so bad.
I had him at wide receiver 12.
Colin's catching strays were not even on campus light.
It's like, like I said, I had him at 12, so it's not like I had him down at 20, and he's dropped down. He's still my top 20 right now. But I think my last update I did yesterday, I dropped him to like wide receiver 18. Like I don't think he's a top 15 guy.
Mox?
I
go back to the statement. Jermain Burton is not a top 15 wide receiver overall.
I think he is. And the reason I think he is because I think he's a productive wide receiver 2 in an NFL offense. He clearly isn't a 1, and I don't think he's a first-round prospect either. I think he's going to go in the second round. I think he's a good complementary piece to an offense. There's not 15 wide receivers that are going to end up there. So I'm not mad if he's at like 15. There's no way he's in my top 10, though. Like, there's no chance. He's a top 20 receiver for sure. He's borderline top 15. So I'll say yes, but like I think he's an NFL player. I can't say that for like a handful of receivers.
Does he feel like he'll end up being a Christian Watson like kind of guy or like MVS like tools? Well, has a role in the NFL, but not like a guy that you're banking on. That's kind of what he's starting to drift toward for me.
Do you think he has a wide receiver 2 finish in his range of outcomes? Because I think he has a season of the wide receiver 2 at an NFL level because I think he's a wide receiver 2 in an offense.
I think he would be very dependent on where he lands in terms of whether that would happen or not. I mean, sure, if you slap him on the Chiefs or something, if you put him on, like, let's say you put him on the Texans right now, who are kind of aching for a wide receiver of some sort there, really, after Brandon Cooks. I don't think he would do that finish on that team. Yeah. Like, I think he would. It would have to be a team that just is like desperate at wide receiver 2, like the Packers this year, who like inflated Watson's value because they took him in the second because they waited.
Yeah, he's a really great athlete. Like that's his calling card. Yeah. A phenomenal athlete. So he will get drafted in the top, in my opinion, top 50 picks.
He probably will, but I think what you just said about him being a great complementary piece is exactly why I'd be hesitant to bet that he'd be that good. Because again, at that point, you are betting on him going to a good offense to do that. Because if he goes to the Browns with Deshaun Watson, Watson's only typically put one wide receiver into the top 12, 24. Like you've got to be on a Justin Herbert, assuming the Broncos ever put their shit together, a Broncos offense, the Chiefs offense, like you have to be on a Rams offense. You have to be on an offense that passes the ball a ton to get multiple receivers into top 24 range. It typically doesn't happen as often as we think it does.
Chris, we were just talking about players that have hit a wide receiver 2 finish that like we don't think of as great players. And you tossed out the name Darnell Mooney. I think that's a great example. Say I have Jermain Burton right now as my wide receiver 20. Let's just say that's where I draw. I have him at 19, but we'll round it to 20 right now. Would you have been happy taking junior Darnell Mooney as the wide receiver 20 in a draft because he might limp into an offense that's sad and has nothing else? Like that seems very, very lofty I would rather you can get Randall in that range. I would much rather have the mystery box. I'd much rather have Randall.
This is such a nuanced conversation because
it is.
I don't know if we're talking Devy or C2C because that changes the calculus in my opinion.
I'm talking Devy, but I mean.
Okay. So yeah, Devy. So I would be happy if I had taken Darnell Mooney as my wide receiver 20 at Devy. Absolutely. Because 10 guys ahead of him are straight up busting.
But that's okay.
Like,
So, but you had to spend
worse.
Wide receiver 10 on him this offseason. So you wouldn't have been happy spending it that though, right?
No, because at the time there were about 10 better wide receiver prospects at the time. Yeah, like legitimately. And they're probably going to perform that way. But it's just a question of like the hit rates are so low that if I'm going to get a wide receiver 2 at the NFL level in Devy, like that's not that bad. It really isn't. So maybe I'm just a cynic. And Felix,
you're muted.
He's either on mute or we can't hear you.
I do want to talk about the just the bricks that have established Jermain Burton's value. Is that athleticism coming out as a freshman was the fastest man, but not only was he the fastest man at the opening, but he backed that up with his vertical jump, his shuttle time. Like he was athletic across the board. And then as a freshman, when Alabama played Georgia, Patrick Surtain was on George Pickens, and Stetson Bennett started relying on Jermain Burton, who was matched up against Josh Jobe. Now, if you look at the stat line, 4 for 58 isn't a lot. 4 for 58 and 1 touchdown. But you consider what that Georgia offense was at the time and the fact that they relied on this freshman kid, I think that's pretty impressive. So there's another brick. Then he transfers to Alabama. He takes that same athleticism that Nick Saban turned into Jameson Williams being a top 10 draft pick. Overall, Jermain Burton is occupying that spot now. And he had that monster. Go back to his freshman season. He had that one monster game against Mississippi State, which, quite frankly, I don't think that we would consider him as highly valued if we didn't see him catch some of those deep passes in that game against Mississippi State, where he had almost 200 yards receiving. So that's where his value stems from. I think Jermain Burton is probably a testament to these wide receivers. You got to stop going to places like Georgia, Michigan, Oregon. Like, you just got to, if you want to be a good player, if you want to go have a shot at the NFL, Jermain Burton recognized he made a mistake because he transferred to Alabama. So stop it. Stop going to Michigan. Stop going to Georgia. Stop going to Oregon. Stop it. After 2 weeks, are we worried about how the strength of the QB and wide receiver position groups as a whole, regardless of draft eligibility year? Are we worried about the strength of the wide receiver and quarterback? We already talked about the wide receiver position and the strength of that. Maybe we're 15 deep as far as Devy, guys we think are going to be NFL players. What about the quarterback position? Is it healthy, Matthew?
I'm worried about it, honestly. I mean, I love CJ Stroud. Can make difference-making throws on the NFL, on the college level. I think he can do it on the NFL level too. If we're talking about for fantasy, I don't see him as a QB1 at the next level. Love Bryce Young. He showed me a ton in that Texas game. He's shown me a ton for 2 years. Size worries me a little bit. Can he be a QB1 at the fantasy level? I don't know. I mean, God, I know I'm going to catch all kinds of strays for this. It's really just two guys that I've been very much against in Caleb Williams and Anthony Richardson with their rushing upside. And Caleb has looked much better this year, something I talked about in the offseason. I wanted to see, I still want to see him play better teams, but he has looked much better than at times what I saw last year. Still think we need to see more from Anthony Richardson, but outside of those guys, I think Quinn looked great for the first half that he was out there, but now he's got an injury. We need to see him come back from that. Then after that, who do you really have faith in right now that can pop up? Because talked a little bit about Cameron Ward. Man, he's been Drake May. I'm sorry. I completely forgot about Drake May. Drake May, in my opinion, deserves to be in this conversation. Outside of them, though, we're out on Spencer Rattler. We're out on Phil Dracovic. We're out on Malik Cunningham. Out on Sam Hartman. Out on Jackson Dart. Out on Tyler Van Dyke. Who is it?
Whoa! Why are we out on Tyler Van Dyke? Excuse me.
I was going to say
I
that.
mean, if you're out on cement shoes, Sam Heward, you better be out on cement shoes, Tyler Van Dyke. I don't care that he can throw the ball down.
Different players.
Different cement shoes. It's a little bit less cement
Different
in his
players,
shoes.
and he's actually not cement shoes. He actually runs quite a bit. No. Austin, is the quarterback position, is it weak, not healthy?
It's never strong. I don't know what the debate is about it. At best, you feel good about 5 guys in college at any given time. How many NFL starters do we feel good about at any given time? And think about how, you get a new class every year. We like maybe 20, 21 of those guys. Like, there just aren't a lot of them in existence at the moment. So am I worried about it? No, because I still feel really good about the top 4 or 5, which is what I've been saying for months.
Can I ask you a question about that then?
Sure.
You said the NFL side. Tom Brady, likely done here soon.
Yeah.
And then I assume Matt Stafford and Aaron Rodgers will be around for a little bit longer, but who knows? They could be gone within the next 4 or 5 years, right? Ryan Tannehill doesn't look like he's got much of a leash left. Jimmy Garoppolo probably done. Matt Ryan on his way out at some point. Like, we're talking about Daniel Jones probably losing his starting job. You're only talking about 4 or 5 guys that you feel good about. That's 7 quarterbacks I just named who are going to be gone. What are we doing at the NFL level then? Like, these guys have got to get replaced by somebody. And I'm not thinking.
Did you feel good about Joe Burrow going like 2 games into his senior year? I mean, there will be a guy or two, and there will be a guy or two.
The minute he got spit on, I was like, I'm all in. Joe Burrow to the moon. No,
but did he get spit on?
Yeah, the year before his junior year, he got like knocked out, and that defender spit on him or whatever.
I've never heard the spitting part, but I've seen the hit.
Yeah, like spurned him into like this god mode that ended up leading like the most prolific college offense to a national championship and so on and so forth.
So
as the story goes.
Moral of the story, no, I'm not worried about it. I think we're just right on track with what normally comes through at this point in time.
There are 3 guys. My top 4 actually hasn't changed. It's been C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young, Caleb Williams, Anthony Richardson since March or so. What has changed is the guys after that. Drake May is up to quarterback 5 for me. Tyler Van Dyke, he's over Tyler Van Dyke. Devin Brown at Ohio State, quarterback 7 for me.
This is the most disrespectful thing
I've ever
heard in my entire life.
It's what?
So sorry.
It's this. Why is it? I need to move Quinn Ewers.
Wait, who are you going to move up?
Quinn Ewers should have been probably right after Tyler Van Dyke or before Tyler Van Dyke.
Where did you have him, or where do you?
I had him.
I think he had
quarterback
QB 60, right where I had Cade Klubnik.
I had him 9. All right, since we're on, I just grabbed this one. React to this statement, Chris Moxley. Caleb Williams is in the C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young tier. True or false?
Absolutely. And my bold prediction this offseason was that he would be quarterback 1 by the end of the year. I think there's a good chance he gets there. And I think if you could make the argument that he's there now, because he's got the rushing ability and he looks just as good as a passer as Bryce Young does, almost just as good as C.J. Stroud. I think there's like differences in what they excel in. Bryce Young's really calm, confident, like cool, collected. C.J. Stroud is better, like I think natural talent. I think Caleb Williams is like a mix of all of them. Like, I think you could be absolutely making a case that he is quarterback 1, and he should be in that tier, in my opinion. I think it's a tier of 3, but it's like 3.5 if you really want to put Quinn up there. I'm not going to get into the whole Quinn debate, but I absolutely think that Caleb needs to be considered among the 3 or the other 2.
He's QB1 for you, Matt, wasn't he?
No, Quinn Ewers is QB1 for me. Quinn Ewers is
I thought
QB1.
For somebody here he was QB1.
Golden boy, come on.
I don't have Caleb. I have Caleb at 4. I've talked about how I want to see more from it. I still have him high, but I mean, look, if we're just gonna play devil's advocate here, I mean, we brought up about another quarterback that doesn't necessarily throw deep. Caleb hasn't done a whole lot of that either so far. Also played 2 really bad teams, but again, I will admit he looks much better passing the ball this year than I felt like he did at times last year. So I'm always hesitant. I feel like I'm very much like Colin when it comes to moving QBs. I probably wait too long to move them. So I would not put him in the same tier as CJ Stroud and Bryce Young, but I don't have a real strong argument against it, I guess.
We only get to see glimpses of these guys, what they are off of the field, and I was impressed by Caleb Williams when I think we all watched his commitment video or it was live. It was live on CBS Sports or 24/7, and I thought that we watched it, but he just seemed very poised and mature, and he has seemed that way throughout, being the backup to Spencer Rattler, being inserted as a starter, being pulled against Baylor, and being, reinserted as the starter. I'm just very impressed by him. He seems to be kind of destined for this. The same way, quite frankly, I felt the same way about Justin Fields, someone that players gravitate towards, who's very much a leader, and I feel that way about Caleb Williams. So I agree with the statement that he should be in that tier. He's my QB3. All right, this next question comes from a tweet from Luca Sartiana. I don't know how to spell Luca's last name, but we're going to figure that out. So this is true or false, okay? He tweeted, now follow me here, top-tier quarterbacks prospects who can be great NFL signal callers without much development. This is his list. For 2023, Bryce Young and CJ Stroud. Austin, I'm giving this to you first. For 2024, Caleb Williams, Quinn Ewers, and J.J. McCarthy. Would love to hear that. And for 2025, Cade Klubnik and Drew Aller. Austin, react to Luca's tweet.
Love Luca. J.J. McCarthy doesn't even belong in the same Twitter account as any of these guys. He was not good last year, and we're going to elevate him off of an 11-12 performance in the first half against Hawaii. Mike Wright looked like an NFL quarterback against Hawaii. No, I really want to see McCarthy against a decent team, and we're not going to see it for a couple weeks. I mean, they set this up for him so that he could earn the job this week. He would have really had to have been bad to not get it. Then they play somebody not good again. This Toledo or
UConn.
So not good this week. Like, going to try to build his confidence up, but I guarantee you, as soon as we get into conference play and he plays Wisconsin or something, he's going to look like crap. I can almost guarantee it. This is Anthony Richardson week 1 all over again in terms of like beating up on a not very good team and everyone wanting to unleash these takes that they've been holding in for a year. I do not see that. No.
Matthew.
I mean, I agree. J.J. McCarthy doesn't deserve to be up there, but I get it. I mean, we've been hyping, not us per se, but people have been hyping Will Levis as a first-round pick. And is J.J. McCarthy any really worse than Will Levis? I don't really think so. I would also say I'm not, again, I know, I'm not putting Cade Klubnik up there just yet either. I still want to see more from him. I don't even know that I think Alar has looked good in the limited time that he's been out there. He was the QB1 in that class, or I guess Klubnik was technically. He was our QB1. I keep forgetting the recruiting sites had Cade up there. I want to see more because I am also very worried about that team. Feel like they broke DJ. I think it's very possible they could break Cade at some point. So I would not put Cade up there.
I think Drew Aller has further to go than Cade Klubnik does from a mechanics and improvement standpoint. Like I think Klubnik is a lot more refined than Aller. And maybe I'm just basing that off what we saw previously. I just feel like he has a lot further to go. And maybe he made those strides because he's looked good when he's played. So that could just be a bad take, and I could be roasted for it later. So clip it if you want, Penn State fans.
The problem that I have with this statement is without much development. Like, I think all of these guys need development, including Bryce Young and CJ Stroud. Like, Bryce Young has not looked good without his trio of, elite wide receivers. The club we ain't seen yet. Drew Aller. How are they pronouncing his name on the broadcast? Are they saying Aller?
I think it's Aller. I think it's Aller.
I had him. I'm pretty sure it's the 24/7 Sports and everything. They say Aller that's why I've been trying to say it that way. I thought it was Drew Aller, but they say Aller.
I mean, we thought he was super toolsy, but could he run an NFL? Like, to me, this statement is who could run an NFL offense today. I think that's Caleb Williams and maybe CJ Stroud, to be honest with you. I don't think that these other guys could. So,
it's funny. I think Bryce Young could. I think Bryce Young's one of the ones who I think actually could. He just isn't developed. He just doesn't have the same raw skills.
So
I question Bryce Young's arm talent, and I don't in a way that I do not question the other two. I think that's why I'm saying that.
that's fair. I had a conversation today with Jared Wackerly of Dynasty Nerds. We both have Bryce Young as our QB1 in this class. I agree that his arm strength is not there, but just what he's able to do on the field, like I don't think he gets the credit for how bad that offensive line is and how well he's produced 2 straight years. And even against a Texas team that I think they probably outmatched, like he won them that game. It wasn't the defense. It wasn't the conversation we were making for Will Anderson becoming Heisman. It won them. It was Bryce Young with a bad wide receiver core around him now too.
Did the same thing against Auburn last year too. Same thing against Auburn at the end of the game. He is clutch and he processes better than any quarterback under pressure.
Like
just
and what Jared said that, and that he has this it factor, and I agree with him on that. Like he has something that Stroud doesn't, in my opinion. In the big game, Stroud doesn't seem to step up like Young does.
Maybe I stand corrected. I know what Austin's going to say. He's going to compare Bryce Young to Joe Burrow. Am I right? Am I thinking right? Does he have a better arm?
I was going to say, is Stroud's arm better than Bryce Young's? I don't know that it noticeably is. Stroud loses some oomph on the ball when he's off platform, kind of scrambling. I don't think, like, if we want to say that Bryce Young's arm strength isn't perfect, sure, whatever. I think it's fine, but I don't think it's any worse than CJ Stroud. So I don't necessarily, if that's how someone would differentiate the two, I don't know that I like that. Stroud's bigger, like he looks more like an NFL quarterback if you just stuck them both in pads out there. But beyond that, I don't know.
I'm shaking the bowl. Make sure you subscribe to Campus to Canton on YouTube. Prize Picks, promo code C2C. You can spend your entire Saturday with Campus to Canton. You've got better sports from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. We take a small 30-minute break, and then you've got the tailgate from 10:30 to taking you to the big noon kickoff. We do a halftime check-in around 3:30 or so in the Discord voice chat. We jump on there. So if you are a subscriber to the site, you can hop on with us. And then at night, I have no idea whose idea this was, but we go live after that primetime game concludes at like 11:30 or so. We're going live until about 1 o'clock in the morning. So support us any way you can. 5-star news, all that stuff. Name some coaches. Name a coach or coaches you would never want a prospect to play for. I mean, there's like
Kirk Ferentz.
There's
Jimbo.
Yeah, Jimbo.
Kirk is the best answer.
Yeah,
Kirk and Brian Ferentz. Sorry, because he's the offensive coordinator, and that father-son duo, man. They just got a 4-star quarterback, by the way, to commit to Iowa. I don't know what that dude is smoking, like drinking cord whiskey, maybe. I think he's from Iowa, but man, like.
I think he's from Florida.
Oh, is he really? Man, I don't know what that dude is on.
They couldn't get the 4-star quarterback from Iowa. He's going to Iowa State.
He went to Iowa.
If my kid goes to Iowa and he's a football player and a high-end football player and a skill position player that isn't tight end, how about that?
It's not even like Vanderbilt, where at least your kid's going to get this education. And no offense to Iowa, I don't think it's like West Virginia, but it's not Vanderbilt. It's not like Northwestern or whatever either. Like
yes, offense to Iowa. I'm going to speak for Austin.
This is an anti-Iowa podcast. I am here for it. They've screwed me way too many times.
You know, an underrated one that I would say, Mac Brown.
No.
Is that Phil Longo or is that Mac Brown?
That's Phil Longo. Okay. And I want my.
I mean, you say that, but then go back to Texas and point out all the people he put into the NFL that succeeded as well. What did he succeed?
Was he there for Ricky?
I don't think so. He probably was. Wasn't he at Texas for like 20 years? Wasn't he? He was at Texas for a long time.
I think he was there for Ricky. Yeah.
I'll look. I'm almost positive he was at Texas
Brown
for like
is not.
20 years.
Wait, there are some. Come on, guys. There are some obvious names, in my opinion, on this list.
Craig Bowl,
Jim Harbaugh. Who?
Craig Bowl, the coach at Wyoming. I would never send a player to Wyoming.
You guys.
If I send my child to Laramie, it's basically akin to sending my kid to military camp or like a military school in high school. Like that's how bad it would be to go to Laramie.
Okay, the Mount
He was
Rushmore
with Texas
here.
from 1998 to 2013.
You might have just missed Ricky.
And UNC right before that, right?
Yeah.
Ricky
Tulane.
was 1999 or 2000.
Was
he
he?
He came after Randy Moss, so he was there. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, the Mount Rushmore, I think, on this list has to be Jim Harbaugh has to be up there. Honestly, I want to say that if you're a skill position player, Dabo has to be up there.
I agree 100% on that.
Now, I'm talking about Dabo of today. I'm not talking about Dabo of
Fucking Tony Elliott.
old.
Pre-NIL Dabo. A little different than post-NIL Dabo.
He did say he was going to give up if they started paying kids. Maybe we're just seeing him do it
yet.
on the job.
He's
He's quiet quitting.
Quiet quitting.
Dabo's quiet quitting.
Yes.
Sorry, Felix. I didn't mean to cut you.
No, I was actually trying to think of some other names.
Jimbo has got to be
Jimbo
up
has
there.
a great track record for putting players into the NFL. I mean, you think he has between Florida State and Texas A&M, he does. But their offense sucks. I would still be concerned with
if your only goal is to get to the NFL, then yeah, I mean, I guess. But like, if you have higher,
Pretty good goal though. Just saying, throw that out there.
They're all 5 stars. They could go anywhere and just get to the NFL on their name alone.
Maybe it's just Jim Harbaugh's face on that list 4 times for the Mount Rushmore. All right, here we go. Going back into the bowl. Which coach gets fired next? That's a tough one.
I'm going to double dip. And I'm going to say Greg Bowl.
Oh, my God. This is heavy debate. This is why we get accused of being – you're talking about the Wyoming head coach?
What I think he's on very thin ice. A bunch of players left the program. That's a good answer, but there maybe are Power 5 answers as well that maybe we need to
I'm gonna go Google college football teams and I'll come back with an answer.
I have the best answer for this actually. Neil Brown at West Virginia. I think Neil Brown is like the next guy gone.
Is Jeff Collins too easy? Also, like the Georgia Tech head coach, like he's going to be fired this year. I don't know if he's going to be next, but like he's not last time for this year. Neil Brown isn't either. That's a great call, especially after that loss to Kansas. Like he's not making.
Yeah, I think that dug his own grave. Their AD came out and said that they're not going to fire him, but that feels like the kiss of death because otherwise the AD just doesn't say anything. So
we're not going to fire him until his buyout drops. Is basically what it means.
This is obvious. This is obvious. It's Brian Harsin.
That's what I just
Brian
said.
Harsin.
Yeah.
Oh, did you?
I said it before I was interrupted by Moxley's Idaho coach. Yes. That's what I said.
Oh, they're not going to fire an Idaho coach. They got a great
Whoever it
quarterback.
was.
They got a great quarterback now. You weren't paying attention earlier, Giovanni McCoy.
All right, here we go. Going back into the bowl. Is Quinn Ewers good? I don't know who this question is directed to. Matthew, why don't you take it?
Yes, he is. He's very good. He's going to be – why not? He's going to be picked higher than Caleb Williams in 2024 when they're drafted.
1-2? Caleb Williams and Quinn Ewers?
Yes, I think they'll be the top 2 picks, and I think Quinn goes first.
Mox, Austin?
Felt like Quinn was not thinking as much this week and just doing with a tougher opponent. And I think that helped him a lot, get out of his head after a couple years of not really playing.
That is one that I think should be something we talked more about, is the fact that all we wanted to do is talk crap about how he hadn't played for 2 years and this and that, couldn't beat out CJ Stroud and this and that. And then he goes out there and would have beaten the considered number 1 team in the nation, not playing for 2 years. He played 1 game and was not specifically good in that game. And then comes out there and looks like that.
Woulda, shoulda, coulda. Didn't even play after the first quarter. We don't know if Quinn Ewers is good. He's a bum, as far as I'm concerned. Didn't put up any stats in the last 3 quarters.
Is there?
Moving on.
I do want to ask a quick question on this. Is there a statement to be made? Like we talked about this all offseason. Like he's not even getting all the reps in practice. We saw this offense with him and with Hudson Card in 1 game. Is there not an argument to be made that the coaching staff failed him by not giving him more snaps when it was probably like it was a foregone conclusion that he was going to get this job? And like, I just don't think there was actually a debate here. I think, as you see, because they're having this debate because there ain't nobody behind Hudson Card, and this is exactly what they didn't want to happen. If something happened to Quinn, they were screwed.
That's exactly the point. Like they were keeping him around so he wouldn't transfer. Like that to me, that was so obvious. Like they're not good. Like Texas boosters would have just roasted Sark on a freaking spit roast if he didn't start Quinn Ewers. There was no chance it was ever happening, in my opinion. So yeah, like that's why they kept Hudson Card around, because there was nobody behind Quinn.
Can that also show you how special that kid is? That again, he was getting starts behind Hudson Card, as we had to hear about every Devy debate Wednesday. As the Texas reports came out by one of the hosts on here, he's not even getting the first team reps and still went out there and looked that good.
What other options would they have other than a spit roast?
It's literally
to roast Steve Sarkisian if they were not going to use the spit roast. What other mechanisms could they have?
What's the iron, like some sort of like special metal where you put the dude in the bowl, like a metal bowl, and just roast him over the fire?
Oh, what was that called?
Yeah,
they did it in medieval times.
Or quartering, tie each of his limbs to a horse and have them run in different directions. Those are all things that Texans would have done if Quinn Ewers did not start.
Have you all ever roasted a pig? Have you ever roasted a pig or ever been to a pig roast, or is that just a Cuban thing? Okay. So it used to be when I was little, we used to do these all the time. You would dig a hole in the ground, like a square hole, and put coals down there and roast the pig there. But now they have these boxes. They have these square boxes that you can put the pig in. I don't know if you all, my family does this at least once a year. So, all right. If you've got other thoughts out there at Campus to Canton or at Devy Debate on Twitter, how could you roast Steve Sarkisian? React to this statement. Rahiem Sanders is the RB1 in the 2024 class, Matthew. That class includes Braelon Allen, Travion Henderson, Will Shipley, and Devin Neal, amongst others.
No, but he's running back too. He's not ahead of Henderson for me. Look,
saying he's running back too is a spicy take.
So I don't think so, because I feel like most of us had him at 4 behind Braelon Allen and Will Shipley. What he's shown me as a receiver and his athleticism puts him above Will Shipley for me. And I'm sorry, I understand you mentioned earlier woulda, coulda, shoulda. And Austin, I know you talked about this on Campus Life with a different player, I think this week. You can't take one run away, but if you take one run away from Braelon Allen, he's averaging like 3 yards a carry against shit competition for the past 2 weeks. He played, I don't even remember who was, Northern Illinois State or something like that, and he had 198-yard run. Outside of that, he averaged 2.3 yards a carry. Rahiem Sanders has shown me more, and he's got the receiving ability, which is the one reason I had Shipley above Allen so far. He's almost doubled Braelon Allen in receptions already. Braelon Allen has 8 career receptions. I believe Rahiem Sanders is sitting at like 15 right now. He's almost doubled them, and against better competition. And he just continues to prove it.
I had a chance to watch him Saturday because they played the Gamecocks. So I watched the majority of the game, even though it was kind of out of hand late. I was so impressed with Rahiem Sanders, and I did not expect to come away as impressed as I was. Like, this dude has size, he has speed, he can run between the tackles, which is always a little bit of a question that I had with him. He's a great pass catcher. Like, I think he's firmly cemented himself as RB2 in this class, actually. Like, I think I would not draft Braelon Allen above him. And I would feel really confident in that, like, that draft pick, to be honest. He was excellent. And I watched him against Cincinnati, too. I thought he was excellent. And then he just came back and against a better front seven, in my opinion, at South Carolina. Like, he was awesome. And I had questions about him coming into the year, too. But listen, they are squashed for the most part. He's been excellent.
I feel like I was questioned. Rahiem Sanders was a top 20 running back for me as a freshman. And I feel like someone here. Okay, I feel like early on,
I don't think I did.
That's aggressive.
So I don't think I had him that high. But I don't know if it was, I don't remember if it was because of his skill or it was because I was worried about the way that backfield looked at the time. But I don't think I had him as high as you guys.
I want to ask this question, though. Are we going to end up having Devin Neal above Will Shipley for this class? Austin?
Maybe. I both have looked fine over the past couple weeks. maybe I would have a hard time believing that a back from Kansas would get drafted over a presumptive starter from Clemson. Just like if that's the game you're playing where you're just projecting, because isn't that kind of the issue that everyone has with Sean Tucker now? And Kansas is like even worse than Syracuse, viewed lower than Syracuse is.
I think Kansas has the highest scoring offense through the first 3 weeks of the season. Interesting and good. I mean, Lance Leopold just got hired and he already got an extension. Good money if you can get it. All right. Is the 2023 running back class better than the 2023 quarterback and wide receiver class? Matthew?
Yes.
I think this is a no-brainer.
Yeah.
This is
it's pretty easy, yes. I mean, you got Bijan and Gibbs, so I think stand above everybody else. And then we've talked about E.J. Smith, Raymond Davis has actually looked good this year. Like, they're not going to be guys who are drafted probably day 2, but could they be drafted early day 3 that could end up with Dameon Pierce type roles? Possibly. Like that, I think this class overall, with the players that we have continued to see now move forward, you got Tank Bigsby, who we've kind of not talked about, Zach Evans up there. If Jason McClellan could declare, who looked good, I mean, it was only really one big run against Texas, but if he continues to look good, he could jump up there. I mean, there's a lot of players, I think, in this class kind of dropped on Kendall Milton a little bit, but Deuce Vaughn, I mean, I know he doesn't have the size, but what he can do as a receiving back, like there's a lot of guys in this class that I think could easily get drafted get decent draft capital for a running back and produce in the NFL.
I'm starting to like the second.
Yeah, I forgot Jalen Berger. Yeah. Nah.
I'm starting to like the second round.
Calm down, Colin.
In Dynasty rookie draft. I think that we traded for 2023 Dynasty draft picks because of Bijan, because of Jahmyr Gibbs, because of Tank Bigsby, because of Kayshon Boutte, because of JSN. But I'm starting to like what, picks 9 through 15, 16 are going to look like. It feels like Michael Mayer is probably going to be a second round pick, a Dynasty rookie pick. And that just feels really strong. All right. We only got a few left. Here we go. Go to the bowl. And CJ Donaldson. This is a question, I believe it came from someone on Twitter. CJ Donaldson, the freshman at West Virginia, who plays very much a Jalen Samuels type role, should he be allowed to be inserted as a tight end starter on Fantrax? Moxley.
Yes, he's listed at that on the West Virginia website. Don't get cute just because you don't have him on your team. Don't be jealous of someone who can start him as a tight end, because that's where the question came from. I don't need to hear any jealousy. He's a tight end on the roster. When it changes, Fantrax will change it, and we'll be just smooth sailing. Just don't be jealous.
That's the foundation that I didn't lay for that question. Is the question came from there is a league that is only allowing Donaldson to be inserted as a running back and not into the tight end position. Matthew, you're shaking your head. What's your thoughts on that one?
Oh, I agree with Moxley. I mean, a lot of people complained about this with Cordero Patterson whenever that happened in the NFL. There was someone else in the NFL that they did that with recently too, and I can't remember who it was who had
Golden Boy Taysom Hill.
Taysom Hill. Yeah, you can play him as tight end when he was actually playing as a quarterback last year for New Orleans Saints. Like, yeah, if they're listed that way, there's no reason you should not be able to play him there.
It's all about getting an edge. And if you're going to draft – CJ Donaldson was not drafted anywhere. So that means if you're picking him off the waiver wires, you are probably picking him up with the intent of putting him into that tight end position. You should absolutely – you can go to West Virginia's website right now, like Chris said, and he's identified as a tight end. So, hey, league out there that's not letting a fantasy manager put CJ Donaldson into the tight end position, get over yourself. Get over yourself. Last question. 2024 class, emerging options. Is it better than 2023? Austin, you're shaking your head, so
no.
I don't think we know yet.
No. Have a good night, everybody. That's our show. No. And I think it hurts. Like there are the straw men people that hate the Devy guys out there that say that, well, you guys just say that every class, next year is better than this year. We don't. And no, 2024 doesn't even.
Let me filibuster here for you. Let me identify some 2024 guys. So 2024, we're talking about.
Can I disagree with Austin? I'll just tell them right.
Yes, but let me put some names out here because
I was going to give names
who are listening for the first time. You said, "Can you disagree with them?"
Yeah, I'm going to give the names why.
Go ahead.
2024 running back class right now. You're looking at. Oh shoot, wrong page. Hang on, sorry, Felix.
He's like, oh, actually, 2024 is not good. My bad.
I just messed up. We just talked about Travion Henderson, Rahiem Sanders. Will Shipley, you've got, I mean, we'll see what happens with Donovan Edwards. I don't think he may not fall out of that. Braelon Allen, you've got Devin Neal. I don't know about Ontario Brown as much. Alton McCaskill, Montrell Johnson. That's just the running backs. You go to quarterbacks. We just talked about Caleb Williams, Quinn Ewers. I'm completely just taking this to make myself the winner in this conversation. We talked about Anthony Richardson probably needs another year of development. Anthony Richardson comes out that next year at quarterback. Yeah, Anthony Richardson, Caleb Williams, Quinn Ewers, wide receiver, Marvin Harrison, Mecca Egbuka, Xavier Worthy, like Brock Bowers at tight end. I feel like that stacks up pretty well with the 23 class. You can shake your head.
I honestly
didn't even mention wide receivers.
I just mentioned
you didn't even go to wide receiver.
Xavier
you did
Worthy,
say
Marvin Harrison, and I said Mecca. Those were the only three that I listed.
I honestly don't really think that's close, to be honest. Like, I would rather have the top, like if you combined the top 10 running backs from each class, 7 of them would be 2022 guys or 2023 guys. Like, not even
Bijan, Gibbs, Evans.
I'd put Tank over a bunch of those guys. I'd
Tank
put Tucker over a bunch of those guys.
Over Allen, Sanders, Shipley.
Hey, Matt, we own a website together, and it has all of my rankings on it. You can go sort
I don't
by
like
my
to go
Devy
look at your
rankings,
rankings,
and you could see where I have these guys. No, not over Travion, but over Braelon Allen. Yeah, over Will Shipley by a ton. Over Devin Neal. Yeah, over insert other guy here. Yeah, like
that's one position.
I would take all the wide receivers too.
You take Kayshawn over. Well,
I would take like the Butte, JSN, Downs. I'm forgetting a guy that's at the top.
Take Downs over Marvin Harrison, Xavier Worthy, and Mecca.
Again, it's like if you take the top 10 from each class, probably 6 or 7 of them would be 2023 guys, not 20. I would take Josh Downs over Bo Collins. I would take Josh Downs over Mario Williams. I would take Josh Downs over, I don't know. I'm trying to think of some other guys that are in that class. But yes, I would take Jordan Addison over Egbuka. All of them except for Marvin Harrison. I would take Jordan Addison over all of them.
Your top 5, Austin. Your top 5 running backs, 5 in each class. Top 10 running backs, 5 in each class. By the way,
well, that's pretty damn even.
I said top.
I actually kind of agree with Matt. Not that I think this class is better than 2023, but I think 2024 is going to end up being closer than maybe people think. The high-end quarterback talent is going to be similar. I think Drake May is emerging. Obviously, we talked about Caleb Williams is already there. Quinn Ewers, like I think it's going to be end up being a lot closer than people maybe think it is right now.
Well, I think
I don't hate it.
That's a really big argument for it, and it's using your own argument against you, Austin. You said what makes draft classes are how deep the quarterback and running back class is. I think the running back class can get close to what 2023 is, and I think right now, if we're projecting forward with these quarterbacks, we think it's going to be better than 2023 because I'm not taking a Stroud or Young over a Caleb or Quinn if they get to what we think they can get to.
I don't think May belongs in that discussion, like even close, really. I wouldn't spend a first-round rookie pick on Drake May tomorrow. I don't know about you guys.
In what format?
Any, unless I have to start like 8 quarterbacks every week.
Well, am I going to spend a first-round rookie pick on Drake May right now? Probably not. Like in a dynasty format, I don't think that makes sense.
Looking at the 2023.
Let me interrupt here. Here's the actionable advice. We told you when we started the show in November 2020 that the 2022 class you did not want to have if you are a dynasty player and you're listening to us. You did not want to be holding those 2022 picks in your hand. Now look at what those picks are. Breece Hall. Are you starting Breece Hall? James Cook was going like number 3 overall. I mean, it is. We told you that class was going to be bad. We told you 2023 was going to be good. You wanted to get those. I think that you want to trade for 2024 picks. Are they going to be as valuable as 2023 picks? Maybe not. They're going to be more valuable than 2022 picks, than 2022 rookie picks.
Well, 2022 is like the.
But we said
from hell.
Pick Mageddon.
We said it. We said it. We said that the 2022 class is So 2024 is shaping up to be a class that you want to invest in. So if you are rebuilding, I think I would be comfortable. Hey, you probably can't get 2023s anymore. 2024 is going to be just fine. Matthew, was there something you wanted to add to that?
I don't remember what I was going to ask. I was going to ask him a question about a quarterback, and I can't remember what it was now.
That's actionable advice, though, Felix. Like, seriously, you can't get 2023 picks right now. You can sure get 2024 picks because nobody's talking about that might actually be another strong class.
And we
make those moves now.
We said it. We said it in our first couple of shows. All right. I think that's all we got. That's all we got. Make sure you are listening to us on Saturday morning. Get up with they're giving away so many jerseys and everything on Better Sports Network, and you can support us just by downloading the Better Sports app, hitting that fun button when we are on Saturday morning, 8 a.m. to 10 with us. Come call the show. You can't call this show. I mean, I can give you Matthew's number. Maybe I can put Matthew's number out here and you can call Matthew and maybe we get you on that way. But you can actually download the Better Sports app and call us and tell us if you're tailgating, tell us, what players you're looking forward to watching that day. I tell you what, I'm going to be watching Jay Kaner against Caleb Williams starting at the time of 10:30 Eastern time. But I'm going to be staying up for that one. So support us that way. We need some 5-star rating reviews. And then the other thing, I think this is the last week that Devy Debate is going to be uploaded to its individual feed. We said 3 weeks. And I should have announced that at the beginning of the show, but people will get with the program at some point. All right. That is going to be our show for tonight. Apologies to Curb Street. We ran out of time. We'll get them rescheduled soon for Austin Nace, Chris Moxley, and Matt Bruning. Good night and good luck. I'm on Dontavian Wicks. Watch it. Is that Mike Bree's burner? Andy Newtshorn. Is that an innuendo, Andy? Newtshorn? That sounds like it's a joke of some sort. I thought that was a good, entertaining hour of Devy Debate show.
I'm just glad Austin's back.
I know.
The people have been asking for Austin all over the internet. Apparently,
it's popular.
He's the hot commodity now.
Austin is going to be on Better Sports tomorrow at what, 11?
11.
Yeah. Check the email.
I was going to say
they don't need me anymore.
I have no idea. Just he sent an email, so I don't know.
The email.
Yeah, I will also say, it was great to have Austin back, and he pulled exactly Felix's favorite thing about Austin too.
Oh, he did the I don't agree with any of that. Yeah, deadpan. I don't agree with any of that. And he added a "to be honest" on that one too. Yeah, I don't think any of that is right. To be honest,
here's all the stuff. I don't agree with any of that. Who's on Better Sports on Saturday?
Boy, you are. You definitely will be.
Yeah, shit, I know.
We're gonna work Chris to the bone this year on the show.
Chris, you ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, Felix, are you on this week?
No, I got to be every other week.
That's what I thought. Okay, so it'll be a good one. Who's
I
putting
will
the
be
together? Austin. Good. Working for the mind of. All right, it'll be good.
Mox, as far as I know, it's just going to be me and you on the 24th. Wait, Matt, you said you were going to move your training?
I'm not moving yet. I'm staying late the next 2 Fridays because, I'm so dedicated to this and everything. So
you could take a break every once in a while, right? Just
throw
don't that out
do
there.
Some of these.
You don't have to do everything, Matt.
I don't disagree with you right now. I really don't want to at times.
There are little things that I'm like, why does Matt do that? Like the intro video, you could make that so you could just play it. It's a clock, but you insist on having like the weeks.
I think it looks better if it has the week's worth of podcast on there. It looks
nobody's sitting there reading it that much.
That's not true. Jared called. I'm not going to air anything. I forgot we're still recording, so never mind.
Jared, who works for the website.
No, different Jared.
Okay.
All right.
J-Wax up in your sending you voice messages.
I enjoy talking to J-Wax, man.
Pickett. That's what he sends me.
It was so funny when he sent me that voice message. It was just like because like sometimes he'll just send me messages out of nowhere just to like talk college football, and I'm just sitting there and I see my phone pop up. I just assume it was Devy debate because we were talking about whatever at the time. Then I see I have a voice message from him, and he's like, it's like a 4-minute voice message, and it's just all this stuff about like the recruiting stuff. And then right at the end, he's like, holy shit, that Anthony Richardson trade was bad. Woof. And I'm just like, I just start dying laughing. I'm just
he sent me literally a 4-second message, and all it said was, I think I fucked up the Anthony Richardson trade or something. I was like, fires.
He's going to go off this 1 week. He's going to go off this week against South Florida. I was actually.
Oh no! Seriously?
South Florida is who he dominated last
so?
year.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That was his big game last year.
He had a big game and he pulled up with a hamstring injury against South Florida. He had like a long touchdown run in that one.
Is he gonna be your start of the week on the tailgate this week?
He's on tailgate this week.
I'm not.
Oh yeah, you're off both shows. Dang. Yeah. You can't start Travion Henderson, Anthony Richardson, and Nathaniel Dell.
Listen, people might have had. I picked. Who did I pick? I picked
Marvin Harrison.
Marvin Harrison Jr., who went off
against Arkansas State. Okay, as the wide receiver 1.
I don't remember who the other one was.
I don't know either.
I don't remember. I know I said Nick Singleton because they were. I thought so. I didn't know. Kayshawn Allen didn't play in that game.
I thought he did.
Okay,
I don't know.
But
just Singleton.
And I could be wrong. I don't think there's every.
My logic was solid. So J-Wack, we were in trade negotiations and then he backed out
for Anthony Richardson.
No, for
that's Saquon trade.
I was sending him Saquon Barkley, and I was trying to get JSN and some other pieces. I'm gonna trade Saquon Barkley.
I mean, I didn't like that deal that you sent for you, but then in the context of what you said after, that's why so many people send us like DM me trades even, and it's like I don't need to see your whole team, but I at least need to have an idea of like what's going on before I can give you like, yeah, you should do that or no, you should not. Because in a vacuum, if I'm a team that's even close to competing, I would probably give up JSN for Saquon Barkley. I know there were other pieces involved, but as like the centerpiece, I'd be happy with that.
I like the other side of that trade. For what it's worth.
You liked what? What did you like?
The other side. I like the other side of that trade.
Well, I should say. Let me say what the whole trade was in case this part is uploaded. So I was giving away Saquon Barkley, David Njoku, and I would be receiving. I offered him for me to get Jackson Smith and Jigba, Evan Stewart in a 2023 supplemental list. And he came back. He didn't want to give up Evan Stewart. And then he mentioned adding Christian Watson to my side as far as giving away. I was fine with that, but then he backed out of negotiations altogether, getting cold feet.
If I have Evan Stewart, I'm happy to hold him. But I don't think I'm buying Evan Stewart right now. Like the Texas A&M offense, like what they're not doing anything.
I know.
What has changed?
It's Jermain Burton all over again.
Has anything changed about your opinion from like pre-week 0 to
no?
now,
That's why I'm saying if I had him, I'm holding him. I'm just not actively acquiring him.
He's been super involved though.
I think if that offense doesn't take any kind of turn, though, you can get him cheaper later.
Maybe.
Especially if Haynes Keen continues
Jimbo's
to be
not
bad.
going to bring in somebody else. He's going to call the plays there. That's not going to change.
Yeah.
They're paying him $100 million. He's not.
I would still trade for Evan Stewart, and I wouldn't try to sell him in any capacity. I would be buying.
I'm not selling him right now. I mean, you're not going to get any more than you bought him for. You got him for a couple months ago. I'm just not actively like going to the Evan Stewart owner and being like, yes, I would like to. Evan Stewart is the target of this trade.
What I wanted, who my original target was Marvin Harrison Jr., but Colin has him, and Colin's NFL team sucks, so I can't trade him. Saquon Barkley doesn't.
Sure, you can play on his Penn State homerism.
He was talking about Saquon Barkley as like a Greek god the other day on
Yeah.
He was so good, and he could do a spin move and a stiff arm, and he's thick in all the right places. As I call it, stop.
He's thick in all the right places.
Yeah, he's got curvy Saquon Barkley.
Colin drawing
I'm gonna
Saquon
text him.
Barkley would be like Dennis drawing the women when he's like trying to be a designer or whatever on Always Sunny.
He's drawing the stock.
I'm gonna text him and see if he responds. Which the last time I text Colin, he did not respond. So let's see if he responds here. Now that we're on
Sounds
it.
about right.